Hey, what up, everyone? I'm Sinnycool, and this is Gems of War. And today I have three of the safest teams for you for the Fang Moor faction event and a Purple Guild Wars team. So I'm recording this in the morning on Tuesday. That way I can do Guild Wars and the faction teams. At least that's what I'm telling myself. But yeah, we got right here is the first team. It's a low-level team for Fang Moor. There's a couple things you could do here. As a low level player. I think this one is the most accessible and one of the safest teams you could do. But of course, you could do Rowan. Of course, you could do Triple Ferocity Rage Reaver. I wanted to make sure to say that. If you do Rowan, you're going to have to use like Harpy Mage and either Golden Cog or Shield of Urskaya. Maybe two Harpy Mages or two Roans or something like that. Something like that. And then Ferocity, the triple Ferocity Rage Reaver thing with Shaman class. Make sure they're fully traded. Make sure, everything's up to par. But here, this team, triple Dwarven Gate with Black Manacles. Probably the team you're going to get the soonest and the easiest. Black Manacles is Mastery. And Mastery weapon, so brown and purple mastery. And then the Dwarven Gate is a low rarity, I think a common blue troop that you should have at least one or two of. If you only have one or two, throw a Harpy Mage on there or something, and you'll be okay. The restriction being blue and red, we don't have like Leprechaun or Thrall or anything like that, so you have to use Harpy Mage quite a bit if you want to get your mana generation going. But yeah, this team here, use like a 50% star class. If you're a beginner, you're going to want to use like Titan or something. Then you just do the little dance with the Dwarven Gates. You cast a Dwarven Gate, it gets up the other one. You cast the other one, it gets up the other one. You cast that one, you get up the Black Manacles. And then you cast it, you hope for a Devour, and you can move that Black Manacles around in the team depending on like how much trouble you're having. If your Black Manacles is dying for some reason, you can move it to the bottom. You can move it to second slot, third slot, wherever you want. So that's what I would use if you're a low-level player. Just cast those Dwarven Gates, and they give 5 mana to the rest of the team and barrier to the rest of the team, so it's pretty freaking safe. Like, all three of these teams are really safe. Dwarven Gates giving barrier every time they cast, and mana every time they cast, so it gets up the next thing. The next thing gives barrier to everybody, and gets the next thing up. The next thing gives barrier to everybody, gets the next thing up, and then the Black Manacles can get a Devour and hits all enemies, so this one is the Truffle Shuffle, another super safe team, and I like to use this. I'll use this for faction events. It's not super slow, and it's really safe. So this is like a no-brainer. This team, Truffle Shuffle, is probably the biggest no-brainer in the game almost. I mean, not really, because once you get super deep, you got to really cast the right things and make the right decisions. But if you do it right, you just won't die. So Forest Troll is what you want to get up first. So you're going to match like a brown or a blue. Most of the time I'll do, it doesn't matter really, brown or blue. And then you'll cast the Forest Troll. It'll put a bunch of green on the board. Usually gets an extra turn, gets up a Gob Truffle. You cast the Gob Truffle, it gets an extra turn no matter what when you cast it. And then it puts a bunch of brown and green on the board. And usually, you'll get the next one up. You'll cast that. It gets an extra turn. And then they just keep getting each other up back and forth, the Gob Truffles. And if somehow you miss on a Gob Truffle, the Forest Troll is up by then. You know what I mean? So early on, maybe that doesn't happen. But the further you go in the battle, the more loopy it gets. So it's an infinite loop, but you kind of got to get it going. At least, I would say, 2 or 3 Gob Truffle casts, and then you're off to the races, and it'll never be the enemy's turn. The enemy will be lucky anyway to get 1 or 2 turns against this team, so you'll be all right. And the Forest Troll has Skull Mitigation, it entangles. Just don't cast the Doomed Glaive unless you're finishing them off or trying to deal with some merge or something like that. If you have perfect alignment, something like that. Most of the time, you're going to Forest Trolls just to get the Gob Truffles going, and then you cast the Gob Truffles until the cows come home. Alright, here's the SYCO-MEGA-MISSY, another super duper safe team, but it's also really fun. So, once again, not the fastest thing ever. If you're looking for the fastest thing ever, I would go with, maybe, Tesla doesn't have Holy Saint Astra, so I didn't do Tesla. I would say Phoenicia Magma Dragon's a good way to go since you have access to red. Zul'Goth or High King Irongut. Those would be the ways to go if you're just trying to get this done as quickly as possible. Especially early on, the Phoenicia Magma Dragon. Or Can you do Guard's Avatar, maybe? I don't know. But Phoenicia Magma Dragon's like the world record for pet rescue, so I'm sure it'll do the event up until, level 90 pretty easily if you're just doing all rewards. You only have to go to level 90, so if you're doing all rooms. So yeah, Phoenicia Magma Dragon if you're just trying to go quickly. But if you're trying to play it safe, you're going to 500 or something. Here you go. You got Mountain Crusher, Sycorax, Mistralis, and Megavore. In this team, you will get up the Mountain Crusher. You'll cast it. That'll most likely get up your Sycorax. And then you just loop on brown or blue until you get up your Missies. And then every time you got Missy, you cast her. The Megavore is just there for its third trait, but then deeper in, when the enemy gets more stats, you can go ahead and cast the Megavore, and it'll strip all their armor, and that'll make it so you don't have to cast Mistralis as many times. So she does like she'll do like a random amount of casts. Like sometimes she'll do 4, sometimes she'll do 2, sometimes she'll do 3. So by getting rid of all their armor with the Megavore, you can make that a little bit quicker. But yeah, you cast Mountain Crusher, you loop with Sycorax on brown or blue after that, and then you get up your Missy. You cast it every time. You get her, and if you want to make it go a little faster, a little deeper, you cast the Megavore, all the while hoping for those death blows as you loop that Sycorax. It's a really fun team, and one of my favorites. All right, here is Purple Guild Wars. Since I'm doing this on Tuesday morning, I can show you this in actual Guild Wars. And I went with the Reflection of Good, the Grey King, Arachnean Weaver, Leprechaun. So, mostly true damage here. When you think of purple, I think of Arachnean Weaver or the Grey King, so I put them together on the same team. And I went with 3 Orpheus medals. I'm in bracket 3. I'm in 3rd place in my guild, a top 20 guild. In bracket 3, I'm 3rd place. But I did have a little trouble in this battle, as you will see. But it shows how good this team is, that in having trouble, I still finished with 4 troops and fully charged. So you'll see here I'm going to lose my hero, but I still finished with 4 troops fully charged. And I wasn't too worried about it. As soon as when my hero died, I was worried for a split second, and then everything was fine like a millisecond later, so it was all good. But with this team, you cast... It's Guild Wars, right? So you're going to have to worry about what the enemy's doing over there, whether they have like a double empowered converter or something like that. You're going to have to think about what they're doing first. That's always the first thought. So I was thinking about, the Moon Rabbit converting blue to yellow. They were frozen on yellow, so I wasn't too worried about it. Then I got my Arachnean Weaver up first, which is kind of weird because you want to kind of get that up second. You want to get the Great King up first. So it wasn't the most ideal situation here. Like if I cast that Arachnean Weaver, it's not going to kill, it's not going to get an explode, and everybody on their team is doing skull damage. So loopy skull damage. So that doesn't really help if I go ahead and web them. So I was kind of just trying to make sure they didn't go too wild. I was trying to make sure I messed up any of their conversions early on. And when you do that, it kind of, you start out behind the 8 ball. You're just trying to play defense. So I got kind of a little bit behind here, and I was playing defense a little bit. So when that happens, you could end up losing. But I ended up casting the Arachnean Weaver just because I had nothing else going on. Started hitting Divine Ishbala with Skulls, trying to get her out of here because she's the most dangerous thing on their team. And then look at this. I was in trouble here. So I got in some trouble a little bit. Purple's not my best day, but I still, I stay with teams until they just fail me. Until they go 3-2 or something, a couple weeks in a row. I am in 3rd place in bracket 3 in the top 20 guild, so this will definitely work for you if you're in anything lower than that. And look at that, we got a web spinner, which is awesome. He's crushing face with skulls, and they're putting a bunch of skulls on the board, so pretty much they got screwed because their whole thing is putting skulls on the board, and I had a web spinner doing triple skull damage to enemies, so it was pretty awesome. I screamed out loud when I got that web spinner. I was like, yeah! And I start flipping off the screen and stuff, because I thought I was going to lose. And then all of a sudden, it changed. I was going to win. So, unfortunately, can't celebrate too much because that's the first battle. So what's going to happen going forward, I don't know. But like I said, this should work for anybody in bracket 5 or under. It should be completely fine. I'm in bracket 3, and it gets harder up there in 1 and 2 and 3. So, Yeah, that's what I would recommend for today. Tomorrow's the live stream, 10 a.m. EST. Like, share, subscribe. Consider joining, it helps a lot. Tell your guild about the channel. Comment below, and I will see y'all next time. You're the best. Peace out.